Soprano Lesley Garrett's a phenomenon in the world of classical music. She's released 14 solo CDs. She hosts her own show. She can dance. By the way, she got to the semi-finals of Strictly Come Dancing in the UK. And right now, she's captivating audiences around the world and here in New Zealand as Mother Abbess in the ever-popular musical The Sound of Music, which is playing until the 26th of this month. What a delight to have you in the studio. Lesley Garrett, good morning to you.
It's my pleasure, especially after a build-up like that. That's fabulous. Thank you, Andrew.
Well, I mean, I could have been here an awful lot longer. Many people make a lot about your bubbliness, and I've been in your company now for 10 minutes. You're infectious.
Well, I was just born that way. It's not something I practice, you know. I come from a big family, and, well, to be honest, when I was a kid, they used to call me Gobby Garrett at school, which is a nickname my family still like to use, but, you know, hopefully I've quietened down a bit.
Well, since you mentioned being a kid, let's go back to Yorkshire. You had an outside toilet, you had a tin bath.
Yeah.
It was
basic.
Basic?
Well, it was, but, you know, we were incredibly happy. We had no idea that that was unusual, to be honest. You know, we had incredibly loving parents, a big musical family. I mean, we might have been short on material stuff, you know, but my father and mother were incredibly inventive. I mean, I remember when we finally did get a proper bathroom, my dad nailed the tin bath to some trolley wheels and turned it into a sidecar, attached it somehow to his motorbike, and we went trundling all over the country in this kind of tin bath until the police stopped us. But anyway, the thing that we did have, though, in spades was music. Because, you know, we didn't have a telly, we didn't have a record player, but we had a piano, and we just all made music round the piano.
So you had a piano in the living room beside the coal fire, you know.
Exactly that. And my grandfather, I had two very influential grandfathers. My granddad Garrett, my dad's dad, he was a kind of dance band leader. He had a band called Arthur Garrett and the Blackout Boys, which he obviously formed in the war, but it kept going till about 1980. And then my other granddad was a classical pianist. He was a fantastic pianist. He had a weak chest, so he couldn't go down the pit. He was born into a mining family. Most of my family were miners or railway workers. And so he was put to the piano, as we say in Yorkshire. And he used to give concerts at weekends. He joined a small orchestra. They played for silent movies. And in fact, he used to play all the great overtures to the great operas. And when I told him I was going to go to the Royal Academy of Music and try and become an opera singer, he said to me, "Hey, lass, that's grand." He said, "I'm that proud of you." He said, "I love opera, except for singing." So I was a bit of an uphill battle with him, but I think I got there eventually.
Well, that's my question while you were talking. You know, you could have ended out in vaudeville, you could have ended out in another part of show business. What made you go opera? What made you go proper?
Well, it's a good question, Chandru, because we sang everything at home. We performed everything. Classical music, shows, folk music, hymns, you know, old war songs. We just sang everything, and I loved it all. But opera, because my dad had a huge operatic voice. He had a voice to rival Pavarotti, and we used to sing a lot of the big duets together. And I had no idea that they were difficult or that they were different. You know, they were just the thing that turned me on. I just loved the feeling I had when I sang opera, because it demanded so much from me, physically, emotionally, mentally. And then I guess I just thought, I'm going to aim for the stars, because to me that was the pinnacle, and maybe I'll end up with the moon, you know. And I think that was what drew me on. I just wanted to do this stuff that seemed to me to be the most magical. Yeah.
Well, Kiri Te Kanawa, of course, had Dame Sister Mary Leo, who took her aside and you know, made her even better. Do you have someone like that? You know,
I do, actually, and she's Australian, funnily enough. I have my best friend in the world, Joy Mammon, who is my professor from the Royal Academy, and I have singing lessons absolutely every week. In fact, I'm desperate for a singing lesson now. We may have to have one over the phone, because if you do a wide variety of repertoire, which I really enjoy doing, and feel very easy doing because of that upbringing I've just been telling you about, you need to make sure your instrument is healthy and is fit. It's a bit like having a sort of personal trainer for the voice, and because also I just think I can always improve. I can always get better. I never feel I've got as good as I can be. You know, I always think there's something more I can do. What
was your first big break?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I think I think I would have to say it was the Wexford Festival in Ireland, which I went straight after the National Opera Studio. I did the Royal Academy of Music and the National Opera Studio for 7 years. I trained for a very long time.
Wow.
It takes a long time to become an opera singer. And then I got this break at the this wonderful Irish opera festival. And Bernard Levin, the great legendary Bernard Levin, wrote me the most amazing review. I was so grateful to him. And I kind of got work with just about everybody in Britain after that, and it kind of took off. But there's been other things along the way. You know, I think singing in the Hollywood Bowl was pretty amazing. The Bolshoi I've sung at. Wembley Stadium, that was an awesome experience. But very high on my list.
What were you doing at Wembley?
Oh, I was singing for the Cup final.
Oh, goodness me.
Abide with me.
Oh, FA Cup final.
93,000 people actually singing with me. Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. That is the biggest. Yeah.
I like big venues.
Yeah, of course. What do you prefer more, doing the opera, doing the show busy more music area, or doing concerts and recitals? Because I know you've got a recital coming up October the 30th.
I'm very excited about that.
Which ones do you prefer? Do you like? I get the feeling you like throwing yourself into a character.
Yes, very much. You're absolutely right. But I think for me the biggest challenge is balancing them all. I was a straightforward opera singer until I very unexpectedly, on a blind date, met my husband and had 2 children sort of overnight. And then my career kind of diversified after that because I didn't want to be travelling abroad. You know, I was my operatic career was growing nicely internationally, and then suddenly I just thought, no, I want to stay at home. So I began to explore the other possibilities for telly, for musicals, for recordings and tours in Britain, and and that all worked out absolutely great. But what the biggest challenge, especially as a mum, is balancing the kind of spinning all those plates at the same time. I have to come back to classical always. If I think I have a natural inclination to stray towards the entertainment world. It's probably from my granddad Garrett. But my heart, my soul, if you like, is in the classical world.
You mentioned your husband. He's a GP. He's a doctor. Is he a quiet man? He would have to be.
Really. Yes. No, he's wonderful. He's absolutely great.
Is he here with you now?
No, sadly, he's running the NHS back home in London.
Oh, good on him.
We met when I was doing The Love for Three Oranges at the London Coliseum for English National Opera. And he says to this day, I thought I was just going to the opera, and then my wife stepped out of an orange. Isn't that sweet?
You mentioned the NHS, and of course, you're a long-time supporter of the Labour Party.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because of the Yorkshire roots?
I think so. My great-grandfather, who I was very, very fond of, was really quite extreme left-wing, and he set up the miners' welfare back in 100 years ago, and he was influential. But yeah, I guess I come from South Yorkshire. I come from a mining area. I come from an area where social deprivation in my childhood was very evident, and it's something I've worked on ever since, really. And I'm passionate about music, about the music I love, about opera being for everybody to hear, and not just for the elite few. So,
did you find it rather fascinating to be in New Zealand during an election when a Labour Party had a bit of a hard time?
A bit of a hammering.
It's fair to say.
I did. I thought that was very interesting, and I think they're going to have to go back and look at the message that they're trying to promote and see where they went wrong.
Yeah. Of course, you mentioned other TV things. You do talk shows. Loose Women. What now? First of all, what a great name for a show.
Loose Women.
Though I'm sure.
Are we ever?
What's that? Is that agony aunt stuff?
No, it's a bit more interesting than that. It is a bit, but it's also much more to do with current affairs and things that affect women, personal experience, how we deal with having a career and having a family. It's women's stuff, but we found out that a huge number of men watch the show. Yeah. I think they try to find out. Of
course, it's called Loose Women.
Exactly.
Hello. Well, this isn't what I expected. Well, that's great. So you obviously are not shy to step above
I just like having a go at anything. I know if I'm asked, I'll have a go.
Not shy to step above the parapet, and have your opinions heard, and to stand up for yourself and what you believe in, because there are some performers who just perform and you never know how they feel, and then there's other like you and Bono, and you know exactly how you feel.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, because music for me has always been like eating or breathing. Music is part of a wider life. for me, life is about the community that I live in and about what matters to that community. And music is an enormous part of all of us. We even more so now with modern technology. I mean, my two kids, Jeremy and Chloe, they are listening to music constantly, as most kids are. So I think there's an opportunity with music to actually spread the message, I think for me, and it's never more clear than, to be honest, when I'm singing Climb Every Mountain, that music has that way of connecting people emotionally. It's a leveller, it doesn't matter who you are, you will be affected the same way by a powerful song sung passionately and well, and for instance, Climb Every Mountain, as it happens to be the song I'm singing at the moment, everybody's had a mountain to climb. Yeah. So when I'm, whoever you are, so when I'm singing that song, I've got the weight of the experience of the audience kind of not exactly on my shoulders, because it's a much more uplifting feeling than that, but I'm responsible for helping them touch those feelings. I think that's the job of music.
God, I want you to sing right now, can you?
It's a bit early.
There we go.
Here we go. Oh. Climb every mountain, search high and low, follow every byway, every path you know.
Beautiful.
Will that do, or do you want a bit more?
No, that's fantastic.
You'll have to come and hear the show.
Absolutely. On until October the 26th. You got a full dance card afterwards? You're going back home?
No, I'm staying here because I'm doing a wonderful concert in the theatre next to the Civic, where we are with The Sound of Music.
But then after that, looking forward...
I'm going home and more concerts, more shows, just more stuff.
And you'll never stop?
I don't think so. Not while I'm being asked to, to continue. I'm amazed that after 35 years I'm still as busy as I've ever been, but I'm very, very grateful for it.
It appears that you're quite good, and that is a problem when you try to actually work less. But there we go. Fantastic. And you've had a lovely time in New Zealand.
Oh, I've had the best time ever in New Zealand. We did a wonderful road trip, myself and some friends in the cast, from Wellington up to here in Adelaide, and we went past those amazing volcanoes that I can't pronounce. Yeah. But I'm working on it.
Ruapehu.
Thank you. Ruapehu.
Yeah. Tongariro, yeah.
When I say it, it sounds like I'm drunk. That's a problem. Yeah. Sorry, I will get that mouth around that. And Lake Taupo and Rotorua, I can do that one. And, oh, God, I put my foot in this boiling pool by mistake. I'm like, what's all this doing, boiling around my feet? What is this country? Yeah. So I had... But the best thing about New Zealand are the people, without any doubt, and their enthusiasm for the work that we're doing.
Yeah. And, of course, the last chance to see you all by yourself doing what you want is coming up on October the 30th. What are you going to do?
Well, the exciting thing about that for me is that I'm going to be working with the New Zealand Opera Chorus. We're going to be in the Aotea Centre a week on Thursday, and we're going to be doing wonderful songs from operas and choruses, but also massive amount of songs from the shows, folk music, a really, really wonderful mixture, like I've been talking about, like I grew up with. I tend to do concerts that reflect who I am, and I am this mixture, I guess. But the best bit is I chat. I tell the audience what the songs are about, and we get to know each other, and we have some stories, and it's fun.
You know what you need is a little fire and a piano, and you can give all the audience a pint, and we can all sit down.
Tin bath.
Yeah, in a tin bath, and we can all sit down and enjoy it.
A few pork scratchings would be great, wouldn't it?
Lesley Garrett in recital, October the 30th at the Aotea Centre. Go to our Facebook page to find all the details about how to get the tickets, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.